In this video, I traveled to the far reaches of my backyard in the midday Florida sun to show you a simple way to fill in those harsh shadows when shooting in direct sunlight, just using a simple translucent reflector from a 5-in-1 reflector kit. With this one simple piece of gear, a light stand, and an assistant, which I didn't have, you can go from this to this. So let's go outside. With summer coming, you may find yourself having to shoot in harsh, sunny conditions, such as I'm shooting in right now. Ideally, you want to get out early in the morning or late in the evening to take advantage of the so-called golden hours, but that's not always possible. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have to be outside in the bright sunlight, there are ways that you can get a better image, whether you're shooting video or still photography. So in this video, I'll give you a few tips on how you can accomplish that. My sunlight keeps fading in and out, and that can happen on a cloudy day. And I still want to get that blurry background just like I would in the studio. So in order to do that, I'm using an ND filter, and I'm using an ND16. That's the strongest filter I have for this lens. And by the way, I'm shooting the Sigma 16mm lens. And I'm shooting at 1080p, 24 frames per second, at 1/50th of a second shutter speed, and I have an aperture of f2.0 and ISO of 100. Now with this ND filter, it does do a lot to help shoot in broad daylight, in bright sunlight conditions, but it doesn't do anything to lessen these harsh shadows that are on my face from the sunlight. So that's the subject of this video today, is how can we lessen those shadows and get a nicer image for our video or for our still photography. Right now what you see is me out here in the sunlight, and the sun is pretty much directly overhead. So you can see I'm getting some kind of harsh shadows in my face. Not a very great image. Let's see what we can do to lessen that. First of all, I want to get myself in position to get the harshest sunlight possible. And while it's shining right now, this is what it looks like. And this is not an image that you want to use. Okay, what I've done here is I've moved myself a little bit in relation to the sun. The sun is directly overhead, and I've got a translucent reflector that I'm holding up with one hand and a light stand since I don't have an assistant out here with me. As you can see, this keeps those harsh shadows off of my face and makes for an even lighting situation and makes for a more pleasant image. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better if you're working in broad daylight, bright sunlight. This will help soften those shadows and give you a more pleasing image, whether you're shooting video or you're shooting still photographs. Now you always want to make sure that the reflector is above you and above your subject. You do not want to place the reflector down low and have it shine back up in the model's face, just like you wouldn't use a light in the studio and have it shining upward towards the face. It gives more of a horror kind of effect, and it's not quite the look you're looking for. It can be acceptable, but you'll get a better image and you'll get better catch lights in the eyes if you hold the reflector up high, just like I'm doing now. If I had an assistant here to hold it, they would be holding this instead of me. But as you can see, the sunlight's not giving me those patchy shadows like it was before. If you have any questions about shooting outside or have any questions about the reflectors or the different reflectors, shoot them down in the comments and I'll be glad to answer them. For reference, this is the same position that I was in when I had the reflector over my face. So the sun's moved a little bit, so it's not quite as harsh as it was before, but still, this is not the look you want to get. Put the reflector overhead, just like this, and much softer. So there you go. That's just one simple, inexpensive way to fill in those harsh shadows when you're shooting in direct sunlight, using a translucent diffuser from a 5-in-1 reflector kit. And by the way, if you don't have one of these 5-in-1 reflector kits, I'll leave a link below in the description if you want to pick one up. They're very inexpensive. You can get one for under $25, and they have a myriad of uses. In fact, I could do another whole video just on the uses for a 5-in-1 reflector kit. I could probably do 2 videos. Very useful and an essential part of any kit for a photographer or a videographer. Now, if you got value from this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next video.